If you're able to invest more, do you think you'll get there faster? Do you think if you might apply some rules of leverage that we're about to show you, you might get there even faster? Yes. Okay, how many of you like to get there in half the time? Yes. How about a quarter of the time? Yes. Okay, now we're talking. Okay, before we can actually start building wealth, the first thing we have to tackle is your debts, right? Most people have been taught to take a debt and to pay it for the duration of the period of time. So a car loan maybe 3 years, a bank loan maybe 5 years, a mortgage 20 to 30 years. That's what we've been trained to do, right? Why do you think that is? That's right. Whose interest is it in? It's in their interest for you to have the debt for as long as possible because they make as much money as possible, right? We need to turn the table on its head. We need to make compound interest start working for you rather than against you. This is a system that I developed when I ran my mortgage company and management consultancy, showing people how to get out of debt fast. It's no joke having a debt for 25 years. If I said to you, take a car loan for 25 years, how many of you would do it? You wouldn't, would you? But a lot of you may consolidate a debt into a mortgage that you had for 3 years and now takes 25 years. So you've taken a small debt and made it into a big debt, right? Any of you ever done that? Yeah. Doesn't make sense. I'm going to show you a system. What I'm going to show you? A system. It's a system that works every time. And it's a system that will allow you to get out of debt, typically clear all of your debts within 5 to 7 years. Good or good? Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put some figures up as an example. What is it? Example. It's an example. Once you understand the example, you can create the system for yourself on your own debts. I'm going to show you the system of how it works. I do need somebody that can actually write something on the board for me that's actually got better handwriting than me, that's good with figures. Could I have a volunteer? Thank you. Why are you sorry? You eating?
Eating.
That's okay.
Hi.
Hi. Okay, what I want you to put on the top there are just 3 debts. At the top, on here, 100,000 mortgage. Underneath it, 15,000 bank loan. I'm not saying you have all of these debts. I'm showing you a system that actually works. And then underneath that, maybe a personal loan or a car loan of about 10,000 euro. 10,000. You might want to write these figures in your book because you'll actually see how this system actually comes together. We'll assume that's 5%. Just put a 5% rate of interest here. The bank loan, 9%. And the car loan, typically 12%. These are typical rates of interest that you might have to pay for these kind of loans, right? Yeah. Okay, the monthly payments, so if you can put the monthly payments for each one, is 585 euro for the mortgage. 585. For the bank loan, 311. And the car loan, 332. So that's typically from your income, how much you might have to pay to spend to service a debt, right? Okay, remember I talked to you before that we're going to have to try and save at least 10% of your income. Well, this is another strategy. We're going to have to try and save 10% of what you spend already towards what's called an accelerated payment. So let's assume that you take home, your net income in your pocket is 2,500 euro. So 10% of 2,500 euro is how much? 250. So if we write at the bottom 250, 250 is 10% of your net take-home pay, which is going to be applied as what's called an accelerated payment. Is everyone with me? No. Okay. All of these are euro, right? These are your payments. All of these payments service each one of these debts. So that's debt 1, debt 2, debt 3, okay?
I'm better at writing.
You sure are. So those are all your debts. That's your debt, and that payment relates to that debt and so forth. Is that clear?
One question. If you've got 100,000 against 5%, it's 5,000 in a year. So per month, that equals less than 500.
That's a repayment basis. Capital and repayment. So the combination of the two. So this is just an example. Don't worry about the math here. The only part that's important is this part here, so far. Okay, I'll explain it again. From your net take-home salary, so say you earn €2,500 per month, we're going to allocate 10% of your income, 10% of your net take-home income, towards what's called an accelerated payment. I'm going to show you how you get to save 10%, so don't worry about how you make the 10% saving yet. I'm teaching you a principle in a system. So 10% of your income of €2,500 is €250, right? So this is how it works to pay off your debts fast. You want to pay off your debts fast, right? In the shortest possible time, yes? With the least amount of interest. Pay attention because this gets really good here, right? You take this payment and you add it to here. Now, the reason why I put these debts in this order, this is the highest debt. This is the next highest, and this is the lowest debt. We're going to pay off the lowest debt first. We're going to pay it first because it's the easiest to pay, the fastest to pay off first. We add this payment to this payment, and now that becomes €582. Does that make sense? €250 added to the minimum payment for this debt is €582. Okay, I'll repeat again. The 10% saving that you take from your income, you add as an accelerated payment to your first debt. Is that clear? Yes. Anyone not clear? Okay, you add this amount to your least expensive debt. This whole payment is then added to that debt. What does that mean? It means that you're going to pay off that debt very fast. It will actually take you 13 months to have paid off a 3-year loan. Once that debt is paid, what do most people do? Most people just pay that, right? No. You add that debt that you were paying. You're already paying it. You're not going to miss it, are you? It's already been coming out of your pocket, right? You're not going to miss it. You add this payment together with this payment to that payment. And a 5-year loan would take 13 months to pay off. Then, once that loan is paid off, you add that payment of 311 to that payment. So how does that break down? So the first payment is £582. The second payment becomes €893, and the last payment becomes €1,478. That mortgage that was going to take you 25 years. How many years? 25. All your debts, every single one using this system, will be paid in just over 8 years. Good or good? Good. That's without you earning 1 penny extra. One second. I know the question you're going to ask, how do I save the 10%? Anyone want to know that? Yes. Okay. Great question. Everyone hear the question? He said, how does the system work if you only have one debt, which is the mortgage. Okay, remember I said it's a system? Okay, so the system is the same. Your mortgage is the payment of 585. Your net income is €2,500. What percentage do you take from your income? 10%. You add 10% to the 585. That's the minimum percentage you want to do is 10%. Could you do more? If you want to pay for your loans even faster, you might take 15%. 10% is the least amount that you actually have to use. It's a system to pay off your debts as fast as possible. I don't know about you, but I want all the money that I earn for me to spend it how I want to spend it, not how the loan companies and credit cards. Agreed? Yes. This system will apply regardless of the size of your debt. There are even more sophisticated ways of doing this, and in my book, I talk about many different ways of accelerating that even faster. However, this is the most simple system for most people to understand. You take 10%. How much? 10% of your net income. You apply that to the payment of your lowest debt. The lowest. Why is it the lowest? Because it's the fastest to pay. Does that make sense? Once this debt is cleared, you've already been spending this money, right? You've been spending it. You're not going to miss it by adding that payment to that, are you? What happens in 8 years' time? You have €1,500 free after tax. How much tax do you pay in this country? A lot. 30%? 40%? How much? 52. €18,000 in your pocket is worth €36,000 before tax. How many hours do you have to work to earn €36,000 tax-free? Because at the moment you're spending it, right? This is a way for you to get out of debt as fast as possible. And the only person that has control of that is you. Except before now, you didn't have a system. This is a system. You want to make this 15%, 20%? You make it as fast as you want to, but as long as you know you clear your first debt first, add that payment to that payment. Don't do what most people do. This debt is paid. Oh, I've got £332 to spend in my pocket. You still have 25 years left of your mortgage. Nobody wants to be paying a debt when they're 50, 60, and in most cases 70. They're now making mortgages even longer, right? 30 years, 35 years, 40 years. In Japan, they give mortgages so their grandchildren have to pay for it. That's nuts, right? You're promising your debts away. Do you understand this? Anyone not? Yes. Do you want to give a mic over there, please?
Instead of paying your debt, you can also put the money on a bank account and get interest over interest. And in Holland, half of the mortgage, if your income is high enough, is deductible, so you don't pay 5%, you pay 2.5%. If you have 5% saving interest, it's more attractive to leave the mortgage and get your money with the interest on the saving account. How do you think about that?
That's a really good question, but from that question, forgive me, but you really don't understand money and finances and compound interest. You will never, ever make as much money through leaving the money through the mortgage as you will through this accelerated system. You will not only pay off your debts faster, you will accumulate even more wealth this way. Any debt is a bad debt, even at 2.5%. Most people don't want to be paying a debt for 25 years. You can build wealth much faster this way than that way. And if you work out the sums, if you physically work out the sums, I will guarantee you this will be a better system. Does that make sense?
No, not yet for me. I find people that... Okay, no, it doesn't.
Okay, let me answer
now.
the question. You're getting a tax break of 2.5% on your mortgage.
Right.
Okay? 2.5% as a return on your investment when you're paying 12, 9% and able to then use that money for accelerated income, for leverage, for growth. And this afternoon I'm going to talk about leverage and growth, and you'll see this afternoon why what you said really is not going to work for you. This system is a system to get anyone out of debt as fast as possible. This afternoon session, when we talk about real estate and leverage and other things, I think things will start falling into place a little bit more. Is that okay?
I'll wait.
Okay, do you think you can do this? Turn to the person next to you and say, I can do that. Okay, we need to answer a really important question. The question is, how do you save 10% of your income towards this accelerated payment, right? Because most of you are saying, I'm really finding it hard to live on what I've got already, right? How am I going to make a 10% saving? Before I give you some answers, why don't you give me some answers? How do you think you can make some savings on what you already spend? What ways could you make savings?
Stop the coffee at Starbucks.
Stop the coffee. Coffee.
Stop insurances.
Sorry?
Stop insurances.
Insurances. We can look at insurances a slightly different way. Newspaper. Simplify. Okay. The truth is there's lots and lots of ways that you can actually make savings. Insurance. How many of you drive a car? Okay. You can increase the excess on your policy from maybe €100 to €300 that might have a 10% saving. You can have cheaper utility bills, gas, electric. You do a combination of the two. Your telephone and mobile and broadband. There's lots of things that you're actually spending on already. Going out for lunch every single day. Having a Starbucks, as you were saying, every single day. You do have to simplify your life for a short period of time. You have to remember something. If you look after your money now, your money will look after you forever. Does that make sense? You will have to make one or two small adjustments and sacrifice for a long-term gain. You know, we live quite a long life these days, don't we? 70, 80, maybe even longer. You have to readjust for this period of time to make sure this amount of time is a lot better. Does that make sense? Anyone willing to do that? Yes. Good. When you go to the supermarket, how many